Let's get it on!
Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon insider, John and Tristan Ducross.
Yo, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. It has seriously been a minute, and what a whirlwind it's been. Started with our personal problems and stuff like that we had to take care of with our mom. We are back on July 4th, so let the fireworks begin. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, is my brother, Sean Ducross. Sean, we're back after almost a month of being out of this. Boy, you missed it a little bit?
A little bit. It was a little bit weird knowing that we were coming back July 4th, getting everything all the ball rolling again. But one person that is taking his ball and going home is Johny Hendricks. Johny Hendricks announced his retirement this past week, and it left you questioning about what is his legacy. Where does he go from here? Is he a Hall of Famer? And can you look past his weight cutting issues in the last 5 fights, I think it is? Can you get past that? Is he a Hall of Famer? And it's like when you look at his track record, four-time fight of the night winner, 3-time knockout of the night winner, former welterweight champion. You seamlessly say, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. But does the weight cutting issues and the severity of which he's had them, most recent, does that hamper his legacy? That's the biggest question going forward that I have for Johny Hendricks, who had perhaps one of the more solid careers for a mixed martial artist and retiring at the age of 34.
Well, yes, we're talking about Johny Hendricks' legacy, and all I could think of is, I was a little disappointed that you chose this photo for him today, giving him the benefit of the doubt that he was actually going to land a jab in this picture. I wanted him to show the world the real Johny Hendricks, which is the cheeseburger guy that loves to stuff his face with cheeseburgers. But my brother didn't want to go that route. But when I'm thinking about Johny Hendricks, he's always been the guy that everybody poked fun at because he missed weight several times. He was the butt of all jokes. Why weightlifting, why weight issues became a norm for Johny Hendricks. Here I look at him and we're talking about his legacy. Well, what's his legacy? My whole thinking is that his legacy at this point in time is nowhere near what he should have been. And that's kind of scary when you think about it, because Johny Hendricks could have been a top flight lightweight in the world. But when you go to war with a man named Robbie Lawler, not once, but twice, to me, Sean, that kind of always seems to be kind of norm, that when you do that and you step inside the cage with Robbie Lawler, one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to come out a better fighter, or you're going to come out somewhat altered. And by that I mean, like I was telling you, was that I keep coming back to what it was back in the day when you had the Hell in a Cell in WWE, the Elimination Chamber of the WWE, is that all this stuff is ultimately altering your body. And your body, there's only so much punishment you can take, right, Sean?
Yeah, and when you're in an MMA field and you take on a guy like a Robbie Lawler, who we've seen is notoriously known for throwing, I guess you could say, his hands freely, and hitting people as much as he does, throwing as much as he does, your body can only withstand so much, and you're beginning to wonder that maybe you did have a point that we were discussing before we came out on the show, Tristan, which was, did this end his career? That is the question.
I think it definitely altered it. Because Robbie Lawler, the first fight, 5 rounds. Then he went to GSP, and whether or not you all agree or disagree whether he won or lost that fight, that was indifferent. But that was a war in itself, too. Then he took on Robbie Lawler again in another 5-round war. Did you guys not see what happened between Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler? Life-altering fights. There's only so much that your mind can take. There's only so much that your body can take. and I really honestly believe after digging deep into this is that I think psychologically this took a beating on his mind and his body. Whether anybody you want to look different, ain't nobody talking about this side. You talk about Johny Hendricks, about him being the joke of every weight cut issue known to man. I think let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's give it a little bit different twist. And I think that's the one little thing that everybody's is not looking at, is how did we get here?
Yeah, and that was one thing I didn't look at. I did not look at, well, how did we get here? How do we even get to Johny Hendricks retiring? And then when you touched on the fact of that he took on 2 fights with Robbie Lawler is when I went, wait, you actually have a point on this one. And yeah, he always had issues with making weight and everything else like that. But I didn't think that was the reason why, but it lined up. When you look at his track record in the last 7 fights, you look at what transpired with the 2 Robbie Lawler fights. He didn't really start missing weight up until the last 5 fights he had. Then he had catch weights. I don't think anybody realized after the Robbie Lawler back-to-back fights is when the issues started to rise. We were all quick to say, oh, he's got weight issues. Oh, he loves his cheeseburgers. He loves his steakhouse in Texas. But we weren't quick to analyze how did we get here.
We're so quick to overanalyze everything. We're so quick to poke fun at people of what the situation it may be. But that's the issue with Johnny. Now I can guarantee you he won't have to let his mind kind of circle, is he ready to fight? Can he go out there mentally prepared to fight? He doesn't have to do that anymore. He can go home. He can enjoy his family life. He can enjoy what's left of his career. He can enjoy, you know, eating all the cheeseburgers that he wants. You know, he posted an Instagram photo with 2 cheeseburgers. That's the photo I wanted, because you saw that
he did an interview with ESPN saying that now he can walk around at 208 and not be questioned about, well, how are you going to drop down to 185 when you're weighing over 200 pounds? He doesn't have to answer those questions. It's like watching Ricky Hatton all over again.
Yeah, a.k.a. Ricky Fatton. Does anybody remember that? This is a guy, Ricky Hatton is a guy that went from Manny Pacquiao size, and everybody knows how small Manny Pacquiao is, right? To now a dude that weighs about 250 at 5'9". He's still out there training, but at every offseason, it was always hard for him to get back into fight shape because he would just be like the Hamburglar. Yum, 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 yum. That's all he would do. That's kind of exactly where we are at with Big Rig. And I think that all the body of work that we're talking about right now with Johny Hendricks, that's what led to the weight cut, the issues. That's what led to all his other mental issues that he had going, preparing for a fight. Yeah. That's everything that ties into it.
You know, it's interesting that this just popped up, is that you could compare him to Prince Nassim Hamed.
Oh, there you go, yes.
You can compare him to that. A guy who is a rising boxer, and yeah, a lot of people don't know who he is, but you could go ahead and Google. He was one of the most flashiest guys, had all the talent in the world, got beat, lost, disappears from the boxing scene. Next thing you know, he pops up and he looks like like somebody ate 2 of him. And it's like, what happened? But in that moment, when you get beat and you're like, you know what, I just don't have anything mentally left to offer, that's what happens. The only prime example of not letting this happen is that it seems like Johny Hendricks is going to go the route of Ricky Hatton. Johny Hendricks says that, oh, I'm still going to go ahead and still train. I'm still going to wrestle. I'm still going to do X, Y, and Z. Where Prince Nassim Hamed disappeared. You've got Ricky Hatton, who still trains, who still actively coaches. So, yeah, he may be a little bit heavier, but at the end of the day, that's when he's the most happiest. That's when you actually have that next level of sanity, I guess you could say, is when you're calm. You're calm when you're doing what you love the most. And at the end of the day, he's loving his decision. He's loving where he's going, and this was the best choice for him.
I just hope as a fighter that he doesn't get left sideways. He doesn't get thrown off.
Yeah.
Because if he gets thrown off, Sean, he has no going back. There's no way that he goes back to the UFC. There's no way that he gets his mind right back for any fight. I just see him falling by the wayside, and I hope I'm wrong about this. Because the body of work, what I go by, is that I see nothing but a darkness inside of Johny Hendricks. And all this darkness could consume you outside of the fight game. And if he does not battle with himself, he'll be fine. And I hope he can get through that. Because if he doesn't, Sean.
And that's what I mean by that.
Because Ricky Hatton has his demons. That's why he gets all that weight on. I'm just hoping that that he has some kind of ground that he doesn't have to lose himself just because he's out of the fight game. And I hope that's not what we see, because you're going to see the down and the deep decline with Johny Hendricks. I just hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, and that's where it comes back down to the sanity part. If he goes in.
You're now listening to the Sports Wars with Sean and Tristan Ducross every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You want all your local amateur MMA news? You want a new fresh take on pro MMA? This is your show every Wednesday on IELiveTV.com and Facebook Live.
Hello, I'm Lyle Murdoch of IE Live TV. Have you ever had an idea or dreamt about producing your own show? Or maybe you just have an event that you'd like to make available online.
Hard fight, he had a great career. He put on exciting fights for the fans.
And that's about it for Johny Hendricks and his career in a nutshell. But we are the Ducross brothers. I'm Tristan Ducross. This is my brother Sean Ducross. We're the Sports Warriors. We are back. Happy to be back. But you can hit us up on IELiveTV.com. We're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube. We're on Phantom their page. So be sure that you check us out, like us, give us a thumbs up. We're going to be right back. We're going to go into a break. Come back out with UFC 226. You feeling blessed? I think we are. But we'll be right back after this break.
You're now listening to the Sports Wars with Sean and Tristan Ducross every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You want all your local amateur MMA news? You want a new fresh take on pro MMA? This is your show every Wednesday on IELiveTV.com and Facebook Live.
Hello, I'm Lyle Murdoch of IE Live TV. Have you ever had an idea or dreamt about producing your own show? Or maybe you just have an event that you'd like to make available online? Then contact us here at IE Live TV. We are using the latest technology in live streaming and top quality video equipment in our productions. Servicing all audio and video needs, our systems are compact, wireless, and completely mobile, so our presence is barely noticeable. Here at IE Live TV, we're doing high quality audio and video productions at a fraction of the cost of other production studios. To find us, just go to www.ielivetv.com or give us a call at 866-831-5737. IE Live TV for quality live video streaming.
All right, everybody, we are back. I feel like I should cheer, or we should have the music of the soccer because the World Cup's going on. And we're back on 4th of July. It would be pretty cool if we had fireworks. But I'm Tristan Ducross. This is Sean Ducross. We are the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. Something that you guys need to know about is that we are very transparent, very straightforward. We have our opinions and we back them with facts. And we're going to get later, a subject that is later on will tie into why I just said that a little bit later if we have time. In the meantime, Sean, UFC 226 headlined by Stipe Miocic and DC. In the meantime, we also have, if you're feeling blessed, got Max Holloway versus Ortega. Both guys seem to be, I mean, they were on, you got one guy that has the title, another one that is surging fast and furious in Ortega, that is following the exact same path that Max Holloway has had. And here we're looking at this point, them being the co-main event, payday for both guys. Couldn't be happier for both these guys getting the big payday and a co-main event spot on UFC 226. What's interesting about this fight is that we're looking at the 145-pound division that was held hostage for what it seems to be for a year and a half long hiatus of Conor McGregor. You have Max Holloway that beat Jose Aldo twice. And, whoops, good job. Way to knock that over. Just like Jose Aldo got knocked out, he just fell off our little desk. So, it has happened. And so now we look at a champion in Max Holloway beating Jose Aldo twice to get to this standpoint. But I'm looking at the whole entire list of champions. And I find it funny that we have two champions on this card. And only one is a true champion. Did you know that? Stipe Miocic is the only true legitimate champ that took the strap off the world champ and raised his hand up as a true champ. Other than that, you had a paper champion versus a paper champion to get a real champion. Max Holloway to go against Ortega. Now this is a time where you put your money where your mouth is, and all that hype that everybody knows that Max Holloway is capable of anything in the world beats Ortega. I'll back off of Max and say that he's a world champ.
Tris, you want to talk about Brian Ortega, Max Holloway, and these two guys that are going to go to war. And I say they're going to go to war is because of the fact that you look at Brian Ortega, 13-0. The guy is a rising superstar in this fight game. You got Max Holloway.
Are we taking easy for granted, though, from Ortega because of the knockout, of the short knockout of Frankie Edgar?
No, because we're not giving Ortega the credit. That's the thing. I don't think everybody's giving Ortega the value in this fight because of the fact that Max Holloway is riding a 12-fight win streak. The fact that Max Holloway is pretty close to ending the division, the featherweight division, completely wiping it off the map because he's this close to ending it. And the only person standing in his way that if he beats Ortega is Conor McGregor. So when you come into this fight, there is so much going on. This is probably should have been the main event in my eyes. Because of the fact that Max Holloway is so marketable going in, he has a lot to lose. Because if he wins this fight, there is no question in my mind that you take UFC and you take it and you launch it into Hawaii. Because you got to beat Bellator to Hawaii now. Because Emma McFarlane retained her title. So either A, Bellator is going to jump on that bandwagon and get to Hawaii before UFC, or the UFC is going to go to Hawaii. This is a race right now. There's a lot riding in on that of Max Holloway. There's not a lot riding on Brian Ortega. He's coming in with a big knockout win over Frankie Edgar. He's riding a hot streak. He's known as T-City. So he's got the whole city of Torrance on his back.
He's got the whole world in his hands. Pretty much it. I'm missing a globe.
But you look at this, and it's just tailor-made for an exciting fight. And, yeah, you may not know what. Champion versus champion automatically gets the main event card. Sure. But when you look at explosiveness, potentially fight of the night caliber,
I'm looking at Holloway versus Ortega.
Because of the fact that he's still defending his title. still should be the main event in my eyes. You look at the odds from Bovada.lv, Holloway is just a minus 150
Yeah, very close
favorite,
fight.
and Ortega is a 120. You've got basically two perennial strikers. But one thing that people don't know is that Brian Ortega has been a grappler since the age of 13.
And nobody seems to understand that Ortega is well-rounded, a well-rounded fighter. He comes into this with a lot more tools than a lot of people are giving him credit for. And I'm not talking about the tools that he used in high school where he kicked kids' butts for just for fun and got kicked out of schools. No, he's doing this now for a living, and he's coming straight for that. He knows that the lights are on him. He knows. He's been preparing this mentally as well as physically. Max Holloway has been doing the exact same thing. I expect nothing but fireworks from these two fighters. But when I look at the champion versus champion, I look at DC versus Miocic. I look at two guys. I look at a potential Hall of Famer in DC. I look at Miocic, who's the last true champion UFC has. 3 title defenses. All held victorious. DC light heavyweight. Here's the thing. While everybody says he's a Hall of Famer, we talked about Johny Hendricks' legacy. How about we talk about DC's legacy?
And we'll talk about DC in a minute. So at the end of the day, who do you have? Max Holloway or Brian Ortega? Which way do you go? Which odds are you on?
I want blessed.
You're going Max Holloway.
Out of this fight, blessed Holloway, regardless if anybody wants to say it or not, he needs this victory to shut everybody up about whether or not he's a true champion, whether or not beating Jose Aldo twice and never officially fighting Conor McGregor. He needs this stamp because now he's beat Jose Aldo twice, and the up-and-coming guy that has done exactly what Max has done, shut him up.
So you got Max Holloway just because I like to sometimes go against the grain and give the fans an opportunity to decide on either Tristan's side or Sean's side.
If you like my side, hit the heart emoji on Facebook. If you like Sean's, give him a thumbs up.
I'm going the underdog, and I'm going Brian Ortega, T-City, for the W.
He has such a bright future ahead of him. Both guys do.
But can Max? I'll leave it on this note, and we'll get to DC. Can Max Holloway defend the takedown?
People are going to be.
That's the way that's going to be. Oh, look, I just got thumbs up there on my side. What's up?
Dude, that's not cool.
That's what's up.
That's not cool. I should have won that.
Haha, you lost. I won.
That's not cool,
Fight
folks.
fans. So, Tristan, Max Holloway, my side, Brian Ortega. Who do you pick?
I'm staying blessed. I'm just staying blessed. After everything we've gone through, I'm going blessed. I feel blessed.
And apparently Daniel Cormier feels blessed himself to be in this opportunity for champion versus champion.
This guy.
The only thing that bugs me about this is the fact that it's being billed as champion versus champion. But the problem I have with champion versus champion is the fact that DC's title's not on the line. How is DC's title not on the line if you're billing it as champion versus champion? Why? Because they both have straps? You're going after Stipe Miocic and his title, but yet you're not going after DC's. This should have been a unification of the heavyweight title and just basically blend the two.
Dude, you got to play that a little bit longer. You cannot drop a piece like that and not play it longer. Lyle Murdoch dropping in a little bit of business right there. I wish it was a little bit longer, but that's cool. Oh! People want to be dancing right now for DC over Miocic, but dude, I want to talk about DC's legacy real quick.
We'll get to that in a second because now you got me talking about dancing. Because of the fact that Stipe Miocic is going to dance. Yeah. He needs to dance in this fight and keep the distance, because if you get into a grappling match with DC, you will end. You will lose. So
I absolutely agree with that. DC, go in there, use your wrestling skills, and get Miocic to the ground. I absolutely agree, because the best Miocic is when he's the aggressor and he's moving forward. DC hates people in his face. Being the aggressor, getting him down, walking him back to the cage, DC hates that with a passion. But while we're talking about these two, basically a headline on these two is they're friends. They love each other. They care for one another.
They don't hug each other. They don't want to high-five each other at the end of the day.
They don't want to have bad blood coming into this. Man, what happened to this world of combat sports where, man, I don't like you? What happened to the people that, again, you got LeBron James going to Lakers, to L.A. You got Boogie Cousins going to Golden State Warriors. Ain't nobody want to compete now. Everybody wants to be best friends.
And that's the thing why I don't believe that this card is going to sell, because of Miocic versus DC. Quite frankly, when you look at it, you've got two guys that are best friends and they're not going to talk smack to each other. But you got Max Holloway and you got Brian Ortega, who are not afraid to sell a card or not afraid to put their best self forward. So when you look at this transition of Miocic, he's got to stop the takedowns. He's got to stop the grinding of DC. He's got to avoid that clinch. He's got to keep that distance. He's got to use that gold glove background and keep it going. Because if he gets into a clinch war, you might as well just roll up and say, yeah, you know what? He's the best heavyweight champion this side since the Klitschko brothers, or since Lennox Lewis or Mike Tyson. But you look at this and you say, well, wait a minute. There are so many negatives going into this. And it's like, if you are Miocic, you're getting pissed off by everybody saying how boring of a fighter you are. How can you be so boring and you don't have anything to offer when you're a firefighter? You have an exciting job. You save people. But yet when you're talking into the media, you reside on tired cliches to get your point across to the general public. I like Miocic. I think he's good. But you can't sell me as them being a main event. You can't sell me as that this is a champion versus champion fight. You could sell me because one's a real champ, one's a fake champ. And the other thing too is like, if you're Miocic and you're in Cleveland, okay, you've got a lot riding on yourself to come out of this as a champion. Because City of Cleveland have absolutely nothing to root for now. Nothing to cheer for. The Cavaliers are back to being dumpster diving for people and hoping that they can get another star player outside of Kevin Love.
And I'm sorry, Cleveland Browns, you can't throw it. You can't even cheer for the Cleveland Browns. They can't chuck batteries onto the field like in Philadelphia. It can't happen. So you have nothing to cheer for. The Miz is crying in his Instagram videos because everybody's leaving Cleveland. Nobody wants to be in Cleveland.
The only bright spot in Cleveland right now is the Cleveland Indians. And now they may be even bigger now that the fact that they're in talks with Manny Machado. But that's a different topic for a different show. But there's a lot going on for Miocic. That's a lot of pressure. So why are you not pissed off? Why are you not showing more animation to drive people to you?
Like, are people that are watching it says that a bucket of water has more personality than Miocic?
That's what I'm saying.
I absolutely agree with that. You're seeing it firsthand. We're in an era where you're supposed to talk your way into a fight or make yourself believable as a champ so people buy into you. These two are doing the complete opposite. We're talking about DC and Miocic about whether or not they should be a main event. We should be talking about, we should be focused going into this is, why is it Miocic pissed off? Or how about a story and, hey, newsflash, there isn't a happy ending at the end of this, is that, what about the legacy of DC? Because he has been a poster child, and John Jones has been his daddy. So if we could get a chant in Cleveland as during DC's walkout as "Who's your daddy?" and then people chant John Jones, "Who's your daddy?" John Jones. That's the legacy that he is. That's the legacy that he has built.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Or you could say the same thing is that, see, you talk about, here, I'll do you guys one better, okay? He's always been good enough. He's never been great enough. He's always been that second fiddle.
Yes, he has.
You're talking about that the fans should start chanting, "Who's your daddy?" and the other crowd should start chanting John Jones. Well, why not start chanting Chael Sanderson? "Who's your daddy?" Chael Sanderson. For those who don't know who Chael Sanderson is, he's one of the most renowned Olympic wrestlers, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
But see,
has his own ASICS shoe line.
Sean, hold on. I have to touch on something real quick that was brought in. They're saying you can't tie in DC's legacy to John Jones. Ultimately, you can because the body of the work
surrounded against John Jones.
It's all around John Jones because he could never become light heavyweight champion facing John Jones.
It's just like you can't say the same thing. His legacy doesn't tie down to Chael Sanderson, but it does. He never went over the top of what Chael Sanderson did in wrestling. He was that second guy. He never achieved the level of greatness John Jones did. He was always that second guy. If he loses to Miocic, he's that second guy.
Yeah. And so I think that when you look
at
the
legacy of him has always been he's that second guy.
That someone else has always been there.
You know, he's like that guy. He's like that best friend that you always have, that he just pops up and does what you need him to do and then disappears. He's that friend. He's that guy. He's your loyal best friend that you can count on, but that's exactly what he is. He's
every
friend.
Girl's friend zone guy. That's DC.
He's everybody's side piece.
Never quite that dime that everybody wants. That's DC. That's just real talk here. DC, good accolades, sure, but he's just never been that guy. Never been the guy. But his body of work ultimately says Hall of Fame. But I think beating Miocic erases everything, all the naysayers, all the stuff that he is tied to, being that side chick, being the friend zone, being everybody else's issue, now is fully erased. He will rewrite his own legacy. He'll rewrite why he is the so-called baddest man on the planet, stealing Chael's son's line.
And that's where it goes from here, is that I think at the end of the day, when you look at the odds, and you look at Bovada odds, and you look at the fact that Miocic is minus 265, and you've got Cormier who's a plus 205. Get it? 205? How ironic. But because of his legacy and where it is, and that if he loses this fight, he'll potentially retire, but yet he really wants Brock Lesnar, he really wants other accolades to add to his background, I say he's got to win this fight. I'm going with the underdog. I'm going with Cormier here at a plus 205 to keep this ball rolling, to get a chance to alter him being the second fiddle to everybody's top dollar.
He just wants to be the first choice. I don't blame the guy. He doesn't want.
He just wants to be the good-looking chick in the corner that everybody's afraid to go talk to.
He wants to be the drumstick at Thanksgiving. That's what he wants to be. And at the end of the day,
he's the turducken?
Yeah.
He's a blend of you don't know which one you're going to get.
We don't know if he's a duck. We don't know if he's a chicken. We don't know what piece we want. He wants the drumstick. That's all I'm saying. He wants to be at the head of the table. He wants to have the drumstick. The only way he does that, he has to beat Miocic and erase everybody else's doubt.
And you're talking about drumsticks and who wants to be that drumstick. Well, Francis Ngannou is taking on Derek Lewis, who last time we checked retired. Now he's back. In this fight, it's interesting because Ngannou has the opportunity to redeem himself after his RDS fight and basically come back. No, the Miocic fight.
Yes.
Come back and show that his cardio wasn't BS. That his cardio is legit. So when you look at this fight, neither one of these fighters are going to go into deep water. Let's just be real. This fight needs to end in the first round, or else by the second and third round, you're going to be going.
Both guys are going to be exhausted. You're going to have to drop down an oxygen mask to give both of them as they go into deep waters. But I think that's where this fight should essentially go for Derek Lewis to get the win over Francis. Because we saw it kind of with Miocic exploiting holes in Francis's game. And I look at what's going on right now with Derek Lewis, and I think that he could do the exact same thing that Miocic did, but that is a downslide for Francis that he doesn't want to be on.
And you're talking about Derek Lewis. The interesting thing about him is that he's your traditional, I'm going to throw my hands. That's what I'm going to do. Ngannou does the same thing. I'm going to throw my hands. But lately, Derek Lewis has shown the ability to take the fight down to the mat and make it a little bit weird. And when you look at Ngannou, he's going to stand there wanting to trade.
I like how you said that. Make it feel weird.
If he can't avoid the takedowns from Lewis in this fight, then Lewis may very well come out of retirement and again send Ngannou back to the drawing board trying to figure out, well, where do I go from here? What do I need to do to take that next level? Because one thing that Miocic did was take Ngannou into deep waters, make him feel uncomfortable, make him hate life, and make him gas out. Lewis isn't going to do that. And when they both get into the later rounds, you're going to see the gas tank go on to empty, go down to E, and it's like you got 5 miles. Can you make it to the gas station right now? Ready, set, go. Push, chug, 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 chug.
Like Thomas Train, I wish I could. I think I can.
That's what you're going to see in the last 2 rounds in this fight, is if the person does not get knocked out or submitted in the first round. This one, I'm going with the latter. Ngannou is the favorite at minus 380, and Lewis is the underdog at 290. This is one underdog I'm passing on. Hard pass. I am good. He can go ahead and continue to stalk Ronda Rousey and Travis Hopper-Brown and continue to do that in retirement. But that's who I have for that one. I guess you're going to agree with me on that one.
Absolutely.
The other one that puzzled my mind was, so you have Kohikin Saki versus Khalil Roundtree. 1-1 versus 6-2. Striker versus striker. Saki saying that he's going to make a statement at the hands of Khalil Roundtree. Show exactly why he's the best kickboxer in the world.
Dude, it could potentially happen.
Like, okay, this is going to be
interesting. I like Khalil Roundtree. I think he has a lot of potential, but I don't know if it's his camp or his mindset. I don't know. But
Roundtree's the underdog, dude.
He's never really materialized to
the level
that I think we were kind of brought to believe with him. He's never really established that.
He's still shown a lot of progress, a lot of growth in his last fight. But he comes in as the underdog.
I see Saki as a world-class kickboxer, and I think, man, that's just a
tip of the iceberg going the other way.
Yeah, Saki's going to come in there, and it's going to be a light show for him. And
and Saki is the favorite. Minus 145, Roundtree plus 145.
And it's a 1-1 versus 6-2, and a guy with 2 professional fights in MMA is the favorite. That's telling you something right there, folks. But in the meantime, what we got coming up, as you can see right here, no, this guy, Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, from MMAbobblehead.com. So if you want your bobblehead, you want this sick-looking bobblehead, go to www.mmabobblehead.com. Get yours today. Because this fool is fighting Tito Ortiz 3. We're going to go to a quick break and come back out, and we're going to talk about this fight and what it means for the sport of MMA. But we'll be right back. We're going to do Cross Brothers Sports Warriors right here on IELiveTV.com. Oh, so now you get the whole world in your hands right here? I got the whole world in my hands right here. He finally got it. It's a big globe, a little bit bigger than I anticipated, but it's here. And I got the whole world in my hand.
You just got to put it a little bit more under.
Right? Can you get it somewhere around here? Put it right here, right where my hands are. Lyle, put it right where my hands are. You got it? I still can't feel it. Over my head, really? No.
You're now listening to the Sports Warriors with Sean and Tristan Ducross every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You want all your local amateur MMA news? You want a new fresh take on pro MMA? This is your show every Wednesday on IELiveTV.com and Facebook Live.
Hello, I'm Lyle Murdoch of IE Live TV. Have you ever had an idea or dreamt about producing your own show? Or maybe you just have an event that you'd like to make available online? Then contact us here at IE Live TV. We are using the latest technology in live streaming and top quality video equipment in our productions. Servicing all audio and video needs, our systems are compact, wireless, and completely mobile, so our presence is barely noticeable. Here at IE Live TV, we're doing high quality audio and video productions at a fraction of the cost of other production studios. To find us, just go to www.ielivetv.com or give us a call at 866-831-5737. IE Live TV for quality live video streaming.
We're back. I'm Tristan Ducross. This is my brother Sean Ducross. We are the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on IELiveTV.com. We're also on Facebook Live. Just search Sean and Tristan Ducross or the Ducross Brothers. You'll find us all over the combat sports world. Shout out to Fightbook MMA. Shout out to Phantom family over there. Thank you guys for believing in us and what we are doing and the continued growth in us.
Coming up in a couple weeks, you got July 28th.
Right.
IE Fight Night Engaged.
Are you kidding me?
Come
Your
on,
boys
fighters.
will be there. Well, doors open at 11. Going to, well, who knows? Your boys will be there all day. So, yes, we will be there all day for IE Fight Night Engaged. So you want to talk combat sports, you want to get on the show, definitely check out your boys then. In the meantime, Sean, Golden Boy Promotions. Who would have thought they would have beaten Zuffa Boxing or Money Mayweather Promotions to the MMA game?
Right? July 2nd, it was announced officially that Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz 3 was going to happen.
And think about it. This was shopped to Bellator and to UFC before.
But yet, you've got these two guys
that sat down and talked.
That sat down and spoke and said, you know what, let's create it. Because apparently, Chuck Liddell and Oscar De La Hoya are partners in this MMA venture that these two have both are co-promoting from the sounds of it. Not just Oscar De La Hoya Golden Boy Promotions MMA. This is also a doing with Chuck Liddell. It took 2 months to get this deal done between Liddell and Tito Ortiz. People were so quick to say, you know what? All these fights are ridiculous in Bellator. That what Bellator does with all their freak show fighting makes no sense.
But yet
nobody's talking negatively about Ortiz versus Liddell. Like, makes no sense. Why? Because Oscar De La Hoya is behind it?
And why? Because Ortiz has retired and unretired more than a spoiled bag of bread. But we're talking about Tito Ortiz. Basically, all Tito Ortiz is chasing every single 0 that he has against a fighter. 2-0, 0-2 against Chuck Liddell.
And both times in which he's fought against Liddell, he's been knocked out. Either KO'd or TKO'd. It didn't
He did.
It didn't
Twice.
matter. It didn't matter to anybody else. It's like, why would you take this fight? Like, do you really want to go 3-0? Do you really want to erase your O against a fighter who hasn't fought in what?
8 years? Give or take?
Why do you want to fight? Why do we want to go down this road? You have all these injuries. You've been kind of shell of yourself.
Very true.
In most recent fights, even though that you had a submission over Chael Sonnen.
Does that
Suspect,
really
though.
count? Does that really count?
It was a suspect submission, if you ask me. But why would you do this? How is this beneficial? That's the question I have.
Hey,
Cha-ching! Is there really a lot of money in this? What other fighters are you going to put paid?
Our producer Lyle's like, dude, De La Hoya's in it? Yeah, we talk about money.
Okay, then what other fighters are you going to get?
I don't know, because from what I'm gathering from this is that it's not a full MMA card.
No, it is.
Yet
it was confirmed yesterday. It's a full standard
because
MMA
originally
card.
they were talking about it being a hybrid show.
Yes, but as of yesterday, when Tito Ortiz, I believe, did the interview, he announced that it is a standard MMA only showing by Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions, and that it would include a standard cage. Not a ring, a standard cage.
Yes, that I knew. I knew that it was going to be inside of a cage.
And the fight will happen before the end of the year.
But what I like about this is that, see, can we get the cha-ching thing one more time? Because that's all I'm hearing right now, because we're talking about it going to pay-per-view. You're looking at about 500,000 buys between these two stars. Regardless of you say...
Would you really buy it on pay-per-view? That must mean that...
Dude, we bought bare knuckle fighting.
But that was more entertaining than this. You better have Conor McGregor and Golden Boy Promotions.
Dude,
or that fight card better be $29.99. Not $59.99.
If it's $29.99, that's
Hard pass.
Boy, you can't hard pass everything.
I'm hard passing. Like Boogie Cousins did on LeBron James. Nah, I'm good.
I'm going Golden State Warriors. I ain't competing anymore. I just want that ring. But the splits are interesting in this. De La Hoya gets 40%. Chuck and Tito both get 30%. They will get the complete share of the revenue of the entire event in general. That means they get 30% in pay-per-view. They get 30% in the gate. They get 30% in the merchandise. They get 30% in sponsorship of the entire event, folks. Nothing in the history of combat sports, in MMA, has gotten that kind of split total of an event in general. So whoever's sponsoring the event, not the fighter, the event, 30%. So if it's Budweiser in Las Vegas, or Bud Light, whatever you want to call it, or Modelo, they get 30%.
Oscar De La Hoya probably going to get Modelo.
Oh, right? All day. Modelo.
Or what is it? Tecate?
Yeah. Tecate.
He's probably going to get that too.
Yep.
He's probably going to get the Tecate Ring Girls.
So you're looking at the potential of money in this fight. Dude. Yeah, all day I'm running to the bank on that one. All day. There's no way that this does not make money. None. And for the fighters, they're just going like, all right, I just got a fight, 3-round fight, and I get to walk out of here with a buttload of money.
So then if you are Oscar De La Hoya and you're able to give this platform to Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell, two aging guys in the sport over 40s, this amount of revenue money, do you think Conor McGregor's knocking on his door?
Man, if I'm Conor McGregor,
do you think he's coming knocking?
I'm deucing out of the UFC.
Because if you're giving that much pay, why wouldn't you do that to the highest grossing mixed martial artist superstar in the game that you could probably lure away from the UFC with that type of draw.
If you have that kind of split,
We'll leave you on that thought.
yep. We're the New Cross Brothers. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're your boys, Sean and Tristan New Cross. Man, hit up our fan page, The New Cross Brothers. Hit up our Facebook, Sean and Tristan New Cross. IE Live Media TV. IE Live. Oh my God, I can't talk right now. IELiveTV.com. That one. In the meantime, Lyle Murdoch, tip our hats, saying thanks for being patient during this long hiatus that we had.
July 28th,
Engaged.
IE Fight Night. Engaged in Ontario.
Dude.
We're good. We're good. We'll talk about Josh Barnett next week.
Yes.
Until then, we are the brothers. We're out.